Isn't it exactly the reason why women are so good at BPM? Because they're connecting the dots somewhere?
Being empathetic, have empathy and read between the lines and then translate that into kind of IT language.
Welcome everyone. My name is Joseph Blondeau and this is already the third round of our Women in BPM interview series. And the interest for the series steadily grows. So I'm very happy to continue on this series and to welcome ladies from the BPM world. So as a reminder for you, our goal is to give women in BPM a voice. So we want to learn about their journey, to get insights into their very own success story, to understand their challenges. And we also want to understand why women are good at BPM. And last but not least, I want to get some fun facts too and some private insights with a short game in the middle. So my guest today is Sylvia Groenbos, and she's working as GDPP Global Administrator at ING Bank in the Netherlands. It's a pleasure to have you today with me, Sylvia. So welcome and thanks for your time.
Thanks for the invitation, Joseph.
Thank you. And so that we both get, warmed up and started, maybe we could just start with you telling me a little bit more about your background, your story. And in that, if you have the time, maybe something, someone who inspires you, drives you especially.
Okay. Well, you stated Sylvia Groenbos. I'm a single mom, 15 years old, 2 children. One of them already moved out. And the other one living with me part-time. From my background, I never pictured myself as an IT person. So I was always more interested in languages. And so I'm looking at my work career. I started as a secretary in an HR department with one of our famous Dutch brewers. And after that, I moved to the export department as an export assistant. And after 8 years of more commerce, I made a step to IT. And to be honest, that's where I found my real passion, being process management. And then especially ARIS. There have been 2 persons that really inspired me, or they still kind of do, and they really laid the basics with me, with my ARIS knowledge, my getting interested in the tool, in the platform as a whole, and they did very well in training, and somehow they are still at the back of my mind with whatever thing I do to make them kind of proud, although they don't always know what I do, but it's something that still drives me and also I feel like because I'm so passionate about whole ARIS, I got colleagues who are really always smiling when I start to defend when people are having criticisms about ARIS and the platform and whatever. So I consider it kind of my child, so no criticisms are allowed with me. And so that's all my work for ARIS, and I always like to be the ambassador in respect of that to the other people in the company, in the department, to spread the word. And also, that's why I'm not only having my job at ING, but I have 2 other jobs as well, which we just talked about. One of them is that I'm a treasurer at the AGNL, that's the ARIS User Group in the Netherlands. And only recently I was asked if I would like to be, and of course I did, to become the vice president of the ARIS International User Groups.
So I heard you told me, Madam Vice President.
Yeah, that's what the current vice president is calling me all the time. Indeed.
Okay. Madam is good. I love it. Maybe you want to tell me, before we really start, a little bit more about what you are doing at ING, your biggest achievements there and what you're driving there.
Yeah, when I started at ING in 2018, I started as functional application expert. So indeed, doing all the functional stuff like conventions, that work, filters, etc. And already after a couple of months, I was thrown into the deep to be part of the development program for our structural solution for GDPR in ARIS Connect. I also did a presentation, by the way, about that in Riga. And so, yeah, I think we really did well as a team to get that structural solution working in Connect. Of course, there's always things you can improve, but I think the basics are really well. And that was quite an achievement, I think, for the team. And I moved away from GDPR, and in ING we call it GDPP because GDPR is part of the total policy. That's where we have the P and not the R at the end. So I moved a bit to something else in ARIS, being called role-based visualization. I started that up as well. A colleague of mine has now taken over, because when the program stopped for GDPP, it became business as usual. So it moved from the program team to the CDMO, the data management department. And actually, I was asked to help creating the job description for the vacancy they had for that global administrator. And while creating it, I thought, but this is me. My name's got written all over it. So I created it and then applied for it and got the job. So
that sounds so great. So that shows that passion brings to success, or to do what you want and what you like.
Yeah. So then in this job, I'm more like being the linking pin between the business, so the business DP offices and the ARIS support squad. So making both worlds meet, IT and business meet, and getting requirements clear and all kind of work in that area there.
Isn't it exactly the reason why women are so good at BPM? Because they're connecting the dots somewhere?
Yeah, like understand reading people. That's also what I've been thinking. So why women in BPM? Women in what qualifies women so good at BPM and at the whole process management? And I think that it's of course I don't want to dismiss. I mean it's generalizing, and there's always of course like. Maybe they don't like the way I name it, but like feminine men, they have more female, whatever feelings, whatever, being empathetic, have empathy and read between the lines, and then translate that into kind of IT language for the support squad, so for the developers, and to understand what the exact requirements are. So people can state in one sentence what they want. I want a dashboard, but then, asking further and reading between the lines what they really want. And then in what I said, translate that. So it comes back to language anyway, where I started with. So
yeah. Oh, I have another question, but afterwards for that, because I just want to jump on your point. It's also about some kind of informal leadership too, in the end, because you're dealing with many people. You have to persuade about the process, the topic basically, and the process management is a good topic for them, and they need that, right?
Yeah, and not everybody is really process minded. So sometimes it's also really difficult to explain what is a process and explain like, okay, but everything you do is a process, even in day-to-day life, right? I mean, getting up in the morning is a process. I saw another of your movies. The coffee making is also a process.
The most important one in the morning.
Yeah. I even got a cup where it's printed, the coffee making process.
That's an old one, I think. That's cool.
Yeah, really old.
All right, thank you. I would like to jump on your language studies. By the way, I studied languages too, so that's very interesting, and that's something we have in common, and I didn't know before this interview. Still, everyone is talking about, more women in STEM, so the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and it's also about, saying that women should study STEM more. What's your view on that? Seeing and saying that you had took a different way and it still worked out.
Yeah. So I really don't know why, because I've seen, when I was looking for the job before I came to ING, I saw that especially for process management, they all companies asked for, a bachelor of science, and I was thinking, why science? I mean, I'm kind of hesitant in saying, okay, girls should be focusing on STEM subjects or whatever, because okay, I was very good at mathematics, but I was really lousy at other parts of the science things like physics and chemistry. And biology, I really failed those subjects, but I was really good at mathematics. But it's kind of the way you think. It's a way of logical thinking. And that combined, again, I come back to that, combined with languages, knowing to read people, knowing to read what they want, and then make some logic out of it. So I think it's kind of a combination of both, of alpha and beta subjects.
I do agree, and I always thought that even mathematics and languages have a lot in common, because it's about structure and logic and building up things.
Yeah.
Whatever way you want to see it. So I do agree with you. I would like to have a short fun test for you.
Okay.
So I have some this or that questions for you.
Yeah.
Some are more fun, some are more business related, and I will start with a private one. Bike or car?
I have to say bike, and I really love to bike, especially on my e-bike. But I have to take the car every now and then, just, because distance, or even public transport. I mean, going to the office, for example, by bike, it's like 35 kilometers. Yeah, it's just too far to go by bike. And my car, I need to pick up my son every now and then. So yeah, but I really like to bike. So yeah, can't really choose.
So it fulfills my cliche of the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Another one, business, risk or compliance?
I'm in a bank, so I should say risk, because risk is really important, of course, the whole risk part in a bank. But I think I'm very much into compliance. So really be compliant with GDPR, be compliant with rules, be compliant with conventions you set. So yeah, I think then I go for compliance.
Okay. Private mountain or go to the beach and the sea?
It's so difficult if you really have to choose, because I like nature. So yeah, but then not really beach. I'm more like a forest kind of, do walking. But I also like, because in the past, we went for holidays to, like, with everything on it, so including breakfast, lunch, dinner, and in a really luxury resort, so being pampered the whole day. I also enjoy that. It's yeah, as I said, like with my education, I'm kind of a combination of everything.
That's very cool, and it's a very good sign, I would say. Last question on that. EPC or BPMN?
EPC every day of the week and twice on Sunday.
Okay. That's a very nice answer. So let's back to the discussion right now. Do you feel you are accepted as a woman in the banking or in the IT industry somehow?
Yeah, I think I am. Looking at how people also turn to me with questions, whether it's male or female. And I think that also with ING, the whole diversity and inclusion part is really important with us. So you see quite a lot of people in BPM actually as customer journey experts and product owners. And yeah, so I think that looking at this company and department, I think that I'm really, as a woman, really accepted by them. Yeah.
You mentioned it a little bit before, but if you would summarize that, what do you like especially about your job? What makes it really cool for you?
To make, what I really like is that I'm in a position to really make other people happy. I'm kind of a people pleaser. So I like to make other people happy and let them improve and get better at what they do. So what I really like is indeed the contact with people. And especially into the international part of it. I've only been working in international departments from when I started working, and I've always liked it, to see the differences between cultures, to see the things that we have in common, and talking to people, so connecting people. Yeah, that's what I like.
And also these different jobs that you have, right? So at ING, user groups, these kind of things too?
Yeah, using your network also, as I said, talking to people. Therefore, I'm so glad that we have the IUG, in person again, to be able to actually talk to people and be, it's more than just a Teams meeting, because then you can't really, it's always really about business and hardly any personal stuff. But when you are, face to face, that's what I like. Talking to people, making connections.
And that's probably one of the reason of your success in this topic, right? This networking.
Yeah.
And also other reasons, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. There might be other reasons, but also maybe that's something female. Not always. I'm not always like, hey, look at me. This is what I did. So I really have to force myself to be proud at what I did, because I think, but that's logic, and we do it as a team. So I'm not one to, to stand out.
But still, I think that's one of the points I also heard a lot of time. Being a female leader is sometimes also feeling yourself as part of the team and not just as the head of the team. Is this something that you also can feel?
Yeah, well, to be honest, I have never really led a team. I was always like, okay, now I'm product owner, so I set the priorities within the team, but that's only started like 2-3 months ago. So I'm really learning in that way. And yeah, as I said, I've never managed or led a team in that respect.
But you lead the topic, and it's also a leading functionality, I would say. Still, from what you see or what you experienced, what would you say you see as challenges for female leaders, where they have some pitfalls, where they can improve?
Yeah, challenges. I would say, they're not always taken seriously, or I think that challenges for women are more that women always tend to feel like they have to be aggressive, be loud, to be heard, be, I don't know if the saying is correct in English, but I'll translate like have hair on your teeth, like being, assertive.
Yeah.
And I think that being yourself is the most important thing. And yeah, I think still that empathy goes a long way. You know, being open and I'm quickly in telling things about myself, and maybe sometimes I'm telling too much. But you know, being open about yourself, about your feelings, and show that you're vulnerable. Yeah, you always get things back as well.
I fully agree. Being authentic is probably one of the main things that we can bring. That's true. And that also goes along with this work-life balance with being a woman at home or a mom, as you stated. So you're a mom of two, and being another person in the job won't work, I would say. But coming back to this work-life balance, so you're a mom, you had two children. How would you say, or how did you manage to get this balance somehow?
While working in the office, you really had, you know, separate worlds. So then I think, although, yeah, you know, leaving the office, going home, you could really take distance, and then you really had two worlds, and then you could really balance. I think that in the period now, these last 2 years working from home, the balancing became more difficult because the work, especially when you're sitting alone, as I said, my daughter, she left home already. She's living on her own, and my son is here 50% of the time. So the days that he's not here, yeah, the division between work and private life gets really much more blurred because you make more hours, you tend to work longer hours, longer days. So the work-life balance, yeah, you really have to pay attention to it. And also I really try, so once a week I do yoga classes, for example, and you know, really take distance and try to work out the balance, but it's not always easy.
And also taking care about yourself in the end then, no?
Oh yeah.
Something we could learn.
Yeah, that's also something, right?
That's something. Cool. I would have one last question. Why do you think the world needs more women in BPM?
Yeah, it's I've been looking at more women, although I know that at certain positions having some female influence, you know, that would be good. I know that women can be equally good at certain jobs, but the whole division, men, women, as I said, I just referred to the diversity and inclusion. I think it doesn't matter if you're a man, woman, a non-binary. It's about the person and the qualities you represent. I think that's more important.
I like this one, and I think about renaming this series in diversity in BPM then. That's a very nice conclusion. I would like to thank you for your time, Sylvia, for taking the time.
You're welcome. Thanks again for the invitation. I really liked it. As I told you, I was kind of nervous, but it's just it was really just a nice conversation with some questions in between.
Look, and you'll see, you will love it afterwards, I'm sure, as everyone will do while watching this. So again, thank you. I'm looking forward to meet you in person again soon.
Yes.
And for everyone watching, stay tuned. We have the next ladies in the row for this Women in BPM series. So thank you and bye-bye.
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.